2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
Welcome to a very special edition of Teaching Crypto. This is AZcrypto with my partner, MrFOMO. MrFOMO, we had some trouble in the marketplace last night.
They made our flips look bad.
Went back in the 38 range, and we rebound. Haven't gotten much higher than 39.5. Very pivotal week for Bitcoin. In fact, I think we got to hit 40 by Monday and hold to get to that 48.5 level, which I predicted that I'd like us to see to help the alts run. How are you feeling right now about the market?
I'm actually feeling pretty positive. There was on Friday, there was some news, maybe Thursday into Friday, that the Russians had attacked a nuclear reactor. That, there was even some news that there was a nuclear reactor on fire, but people on the ground are saying that that was an administrative building. The nuclear reactors are actually intact. And even actually some specialists today I heard on TV talking about how it would take a lot more than a ballistics missile to damage those nuclear, the containment areas for those nuclear reactors. So that, I think, was a large part of what was affecting the market, aside from the fact that, Putin put his nuclear forces on high alert. But that might just be a side effect of them knowing that they were going to go and try and take control of those nuclear power plants. But
we also had a lot of longs liquidated too. So
that also could have been it. But also, if you look at that, even with those longs being liquidated, you've got us beating against that resistance level that used to be support at 39.6. So, I think if we keep beating on that door, if we keep seeing that buying pressure pressing against 39.6, we even peaked above it today at 39.7 for a brief point. I think you're going to see it break through, get back up into the 40s. And just like Bitcoin can go down quickly the way that it did on Friday, it can go up just as quickly. And so, some of our viewers may be thinking, 48.5, wow, that's a big prediction, AZ. But I wouldn't agree with those thoughts. I think we could easily reach 48.5. We could catch a heater on Bitcoin, and volatility is a bad word only on the way down. You could see some volatility on the way up, especially with a lot of shorts on the books. So maybe we'll get a short squeeze.
I'd like to see us claim 40 tomorrow, Monday at the latest, just because of the uncertainty that's going on. Again, I'm not optimistic about the summer at all. In fact, even when we get to April, I get a little bit shaky. So I really like to see us have a strong month. Again, I called it a friendly bear the last episode. It's it's not as friendly when you're in the alts.
Yeah.
And you start getting down. So we'll see what happens.
And that's a good point. Some of our viewers, if you're more risk averse, if you want to be in some risk off assets, but you still want to be in crypto, USDC and Bitcoin are still two pretty safe spots to be. USDC being the safest. But Bitcoin, especially at these levels, or if we fall even lower, then you could start layering in pretty heavily at those levels and feel pretty safe.
I wanted to give an update since we're the official now Luna channel of YouTube. We're gonna Luna today had a nice rebound, up 5%, went all the way down, to 80, back up to 86. So Luna's still doing well. In fact, the volume today for Luna is 1.3 billion. So again, very strong. There was a Luna Twitter space today that I briefly joined. So shout out to those guys. Hopefully we get more of you to listen to the show, and hopefully we'll have working on getting some gas, and hopefully in the future we'll have one of those lunatics on with us. But again, Luna, the 110 prediction doesn't look as good as when we hit 97, but I still feel strong we can get above 100. Once BTC shows recovery, I'll tell you what, I think Luna's going to take off. I really do.
Well, even that.
So I feel good about that.
there's strength in the market when you see strength in Luna, right? You see the volume on Luna going up. That means people are buying UST. I think that when you see Luna turning around, you might see the market start to turn around. So I think your prediction of going over 40 tomorrow has a good chance of coming true.
But hopefully by Monday. Again, I think we got to avoid some FUD with the war. We got to avoid some FUD with any type of rate hikes. That's all. A challenge. But I think I really like Luna and BTC to hopefully recover this week. We'll see. And you have some important information, I think, about VGX because, again, we've been talking about VGX since we started this program over a month ago. And yeah, the price has not been great, but I think it's good to remind our viewers that VGX is not. We've got the dark mode and the moon mode, this week, and we're waiting on those debit cards. But VGX is not going to happen overnight. So I think it's important to remind our viewers about that if they are in it or thinking
I'll also tell our viewers that we're pretty heavily involved in VGX as far as what we hold in our own wallets or our own exchanges. So to me, VGX is a long-term hold at its market cap with its potential with its team, and to be bouncing. I think it got all the way up to into the 190s before we saw that dump on Friday. And so, and I think that was just on the strength of the moon mode and how much people were responding to the moon mode and how much people liked it. And I certainly liked it. So I think you'll see that one bounce back a little bit. Certainly we still for VGX have to open up in Europe. We still got to open in Canada. There's still some markets that are untapped for that.
New York,
as a matter of fact, yeah, New York too. But especially Europe, you see a lot of people starting to turn to crypto, or at least become curious about crypto when they see the war and they see all those lines at those banks, and they see people not being able to access their cash. They're starting to wonder what other options that they have. And with VGX heading over to Europe fairly soon, and you and I think differ on what we think the opening will be. You think it's more of a soft opening, but I think that they're going to open in Europe and they're going to see some demand.
The reason I say soft is because I know they're starting in France and branching out. I don't know if you're going to see just a ton of people. I think it's going to take time. I don't think you're going to see millions and millions of new customers on Europe right away. But I think it'll help. And I think for me, what gets me excited is, and I'll do a little bit of criticism here. I think it's time to get the debit cards out.
Yeah.
Supposedly they were ready in December. They didn't want to do it because of Christmas and the holidays and the fear that a lot of things would go wrong. And they've been testing them, and some people have them. And I understand not rolling out 300,000 or 200,000 at once. Supposedly that's how many people want these. But at the same time, I think at some point we're heading, we're in March, we're heading into the spring, and then before you know it'll be the summer. It's time to get these out. It really is.
And there's another company that's closely associated with them, StormX. They're also not getting their debit card out as fast as I'd like to see them getting it out.
There are some Steve, if you're watching,
using them,
Steve, if you're watching, it's time, my friend. Let's go with the debit cards. If there's an issue, let the community know. If there's an issue, let the community know. But I think it's time to get the debit card in the hands of the VLP members and the rest of the customers for sure. And don't forget, stocks are coming in the fall. But that debit card is going to allow you to use USDC to pay for items and get VGX back. So I think, again, a couple years from now, VGX, we're going to
hear something about sports gambling maybe coming to Voyager. And
they do have a partnership with lottery.com. And so the issue is not all states have legalized sports gambling online. So that's more of a long-term thing. But yes, I could see a day where you could do crypto, stocks, and sports gambling all on Voyager. It's and borrow against your crypto as well. So I think that's all coming. They also added it where you could send crypto for no fees to existing Voyager customers.
You're right. That was a huge thing today. Sending crypto with no fees to other customers, I think, is going to be a game changer for Voyager.
I think I know what you're going to ask your wife now for every single occasion.
You have to get an account
He's
for.
just, I mean, I know you were in the doghouse when you started yelling out Luna 10 times a couple nights
Oh
ago,
God,
but
I was in the doghouse when I started investing in crypto, and she had no idea. So luckily, she knows what crypto is now, and she knows that it's at least
um,
serious.
I did want to bring up one more coin tonight before we, uh, ended this special episode. Cosmos, which Luna is on the network smart contract, we're at 29.34, and this is one that was showing a lot of strength before things broke down in January, and it's still kind of showing some strength. And the volume is over 534 million. The market cap is 8 billion, so it's not a small cap, but a lot of room to grow. And it's one that I said would get to an all-time high. Again, we got to have some BTC cooperation. But earlier this week, we got to 34, pushing 35. We were doing really well before Friday.
Right.
So it looked great. And again, the BTC didn't cooperate. So what I'm telling our viewers are, if you are a fresh buyer, and again, not financial advice, but this might be a great week to pick up some Luna, pick up some Cosmos, pick up some. Well, it is a great time to pick up BTC. My opinion, anytime we're under 40, it's a great buy, excellent buy. Just looking long term. I mean, BTC is always going to be a good buy now versus what it's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8 years from now. But I think Cosmos, BTC, Luna, VGX, like you mentioned, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, and there's some other metrics there that come into play. 12-month ROI on return on investment on wartime investments is in the double digits, and that's just the regular stock market. So if you're investing during wartime, you're investing when it's down. There's actually some method to that madness. You might see some real gains here over the next 12 months. And that is outside of crypto, the volatility of crypto. You could see a much greater gains than that, especially on some of these smaller projects. Speaking of a smaller project, EGLD, down in the 130s, I think right now. It is, we've discussed before, we think that floor is around 111. So if you can get into EGLD now, we love that project. It's got a lot of the same.
Yeah, it was my flip, and like again, because of the BTC done Friday, not great. But honestly, what I said holds true.
Let's look at how Ren token is doing.
I said, well, I said that's what I said. If you get caught, and that my flip philosophies, if you get caught in something like EGLD, eventually you're going to be fine. I really, hopefully. Let's cross our fingers. We're doing this show in 2024, and we're talking about an EGLD at 1,000. We're talking about a Luna minimum 500. We're looking back and saying, okay, maybe the quick flips didn't work for a few days, but if you held on, you're dancing in the streets. So for me, again,
really,
and I think that's a lesson.
Projects.
That's a lesson we can kind of teach our viewers right now is we're definitely not in a bull market. It may not be a true bear, but you got to be careful of what you want to buy. If you do get stuck and you don't want to sell for a loss, you don't want to harvest a loss, you don't want to be in a coin that you don't know and you're not sure that you really believe in. And so for me, if I'm in EGLD and I'm in Luna, even if BTC nosedives, I'm still okay. Same thing with VGX. And so that's been my philosophy on the flips that I'm going to keep bringing. I know you're taking a little more risks. You trust the market.
I'm riverboat gambling, baby. I'm MrFOMO. That's how I do it.
Yeah, but again, I think over the next
few
years,
I think the important message to our viewers is we're putting you onto good projects. I think even if you're talking about Ren, my Friday flip, which I didn't even look at it before we came on the show, because I would imagine that lower caps are doing a little bit worse. But even that's still a great project. So if you bought
not a bad project. You're just going to take a bit of a loss in the short term, but if you believe in it, Ren right now I'm looking is sitting at 34 cents, and so we had gotten all the way up to 43. So, but it's a small cap. So if you really believe it's going to be around 3-4 years from now, you should be okay. But hey. Listen, guys, we've given you some good information. We're going to keep delivering. If you guys could share the channel, get us some new subscribers, even help us out. we would greatly appreciate it, because we're going to grow this channel. We'll do more special episodes.
We're about helping people build on their wealth. We're about helping people build something with their money, making your money work for you. It's not about us. This isn't about us building a YouTube channel. This is about us helping you and you helping your friends and passing that along. We're paying it forward.
Let's build the community, everybody. So please share if you can. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you back here early in the week for a special project breakdown. For Mr. FOMO, this is AZcrypto. Have a great evening, everybody.
See ya.